Well, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be here. I could leave in any second.
I told you, I'm sorry, it's boring. I'm trying my best.
Well, you are boring, but that's not why.
Why?
Well, my wife is currently pregnant and past due, so any minute, I got my ringer on. I didn't turn my ringer off, so I could get a call, and I could be you'll just be talking, and then all of a sudden there's no response from me.
So does that mean you get your money back because the 30 minutes or less agreement has been violated?
Unfortunately, the tenant never signed a contract, so.
So they're just hanging out, and they're just squatting at this point. They're like,
yeah, pretty much.
I like it here.
The eviction notice has been filed, and they're still there.
Past due, huh? Well, congratulations to that. I'm excited for you as a longtime friend of yours, and also, just a believer in life. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I believe that newborns are great. But hello and welcome to the Movie Men podcast.
This is Carl.
Who is a member of the B team. Have you got new parent brain already? What's... Oh my gosh.
Who are you?
I'm terribly worried that when this baby comes and you have to take a week off or whatever, and you come back to the podcast, you're going to be like, you won't know who you are. You're not going to know what a film is. You're just going to be, useless for all intents and purposes.
I watched the things and read the news things, but I don't remember any of it. I
don't know what's going on. And I'm Brady, and this is
the B team.
And it's the B team. Yeah. Better late than never, I guess. And we're here doing the news. The
news we like.
Every week we sit down, we talk about a couple of things that happened last week in the world of movie news and news that applies to movies and TV shows and streaming, and occasionally just some nerdy stuff overall. We get in, we debate some stuff a little bit. But yeah, another week has passed, which means there's another week of movie news. So, without further ado, let's hop into it.
With number one.
So, Ridley Scott, an actor who's known for things like Alien and Gladiator. And what else has Ridley Scott done?
Well, let me see. IMDb says that he has done a number of things. He's been the producer on a lot of things.
He's been a producer on a lot of things.
Oh, he was on the more recent Kaleidoscope TV show.
Okay, yeah. But I feel like there's other...
Kaleidoscope?
Yes, but I feel like there's other
House
massive...
of Gucci, Last Duel.
Are these things he directed?
Director. He's got 52 directing gigs. House of Gucci... Raised by Wolves, Aliens, The Martian.
The Martian, okay.
Exodus, God and Kings.
Okay, so anyways,
Prometheus.
It doesn't matter. Neither here nor there.
Aliens is probably one of his biggest things he's known for.
Yeah. So neither here nor there. One of the things, as we mentioned, that he's known for
Blade Runner
is
2. Blade Runner.
Gladiator.
Gladiator.
Gladiator is one of those films that is, like it or dislike it, you can't help but acknowledge that just about everyone's heard of it. It's kind of one of those films that sort of achieved that level of notoriety among movie fandom.
Yeah, it definitely set some high standards for a period action flick.
And I mean, it's fantastic. Joaquin Phoenix, Russell Crowe, I've said on the Movie Men podcast many times that period piece films like that, whether it be medieval stuff or it be gladiatorial stuff, like Peloponnesian War stuff, or it be even like 1800s type of stuff, like just anything that's like more than like older than the 50s. Anything that's older than the 50s, it just doesn't interest me. And
you don't like Ben-Hur?
No, and I understand that like I don't dislike it, but as a genre, like it doesn't, anything from that category that I do like is an outlier. It just doesn't interest me, right? And I understand that is maybe narrow-minded, and it's like, oh,
it's
well,
like specific, like anything like historical, like 300. You were just like, whatever. I
enjoyed it for what it was, but I had to fight past the fact that it was a 450 BC Spartan film.
Really?
Like I
just not into the sword and shield, knights and archers.
No.
What if it's like fantasy and there's like sorcery and wizardry and stuff going on?
Yeah. Well, so obviously, even though it's completely fictional, obviously, like an exception to this is something like Lord of the Rings. Like I think if there's or I enjoyed Aragon. And stuff like that. So if it's set sort of in a super fictional world, I was a little hit or miss. I wasn't as crazy as everyone else, but at least the first Chronicles of Narnia is pretty good. But yeah, just straight up. Or another exception is like if it's based on a very specific, well-known historical event, then I find that kind of fascinating, right? So like if I were to watch a movie and it was about the Trojan horse, okay, well, cool.
Like Troy, the movie Troy.
Yeah. So that's interesting to me. I enjoyed the movie Pompeii because what an iconic, crazy historical event, right? The volcano erupts and the whole town gets engulfed, and many people are like fossilized in place holding their children and stuff because the city just burned that fast, right? So stuff like,
but something like Robin Hood and, back on topic, Gladiator, not as much. No, I have to really kind of psych myself up. But so having said that, when Pete and I reviewed Gladiator a year ago, maybe, or a little bit more, it was the first time I had watched it because I just don't seek these films out, and I ultimately I liked it. I thought it kind of was. It's one of those films that is maybe 20 to 30 minutes longer than it needs to be. There's kind of some trimming of the fat that can happen. But ultimately, I thought it was interesting and enjoyable. And I'm sure if I dove into more of these films from these categories, I would have a similar response. I'm sure I would watch them and go, oh, there's a lot of these that are really good. I'm sure many of them are really good. It just doesn't interest me. Like I really struggled to, I didn't see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's Hercules film because I just don't give a shit. Like I just don't care. And I wish I did. I can't help it. I've tried making myself care. Well, everybody's got their niche.
Having said all that, living now in the age of legacy sequels, where we go and we dust off an old IP, very often being dusted off by the people who made the original, which certainly in my books adds credibility. And in many cases, we bring back some of the old cast, if not all of the old cast. Recent examples of this is obviously Ghostbusters Afterlife. We just had the Christmas Story. There's lots of things. There's lots of things where we're going, hey, let's get Michael Keaton back in the Bats.
Let's
revisit these old things and do it again.
I would say it happens. I wouldn't say it happens often the way you're portraying it, but I would say about half the time it happens that it's original cast and original creators coming back.
Well, it's been happening more and more. We seem to be
revisiting these things
trend.
Or remaking them definitely is happening more and more. But I would say just as much as it is original cast and creators, it's just as much all new people involved.
Yeah. So it's Gladiators time.
Time.
Pete and I reported on this a while back, that a Gladiator 2 was in the works.
Right.
The Ridley Scott was coming back, and he was gonna do it again. To which, if I remember correctly, I think this was kind of mine and Pete's mentality when this was announced, but it's certainly my mentality now, which is just why? Like, again, I'm all for sequels. I'm all for reboots. I'm all for remakes. I'm actually more for remakes of beloved properties than I am sequels of beloved properties, because if it's a remake, then I'm like, oh, okay, well, whatever, that one didn't happen and I don't care. Whereas if it's a sequel, then what you're doing is you're affecting canon. You're
canonizing, you're adding new content to the original story.
Yeah. But yeah, so actually I just pulled up a list here because I was pretty sure like it's happened a lot. And yeah, so a list of legacy sequels in the last little while. Some of these I would disagree with. Some of these, like it's listing, I mean, I guess it's listing the Star Wars sequel series as legacy sequels, which
I would say so.
I guess so. Yeah, I wasn't considering those, but things that are definitely legacy sequels that we've gotten is Top Gun Maverick, the Cobra Kai series.
Yep.
Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yep.
Matrix Resurrections.
Mm-hmm.
Bad Boys for Life.
Right. Does that come out yet?
Bad Boys for Life? Yeah, that came out 3 years ago.
Really? Man.
Yeah.
Why haven't we seen that yet?
We have to sit and watch that. This one's like 13 years old now, but Tron Legacy, when that came out.
Yeah, that's been a while back.
There was in 2006 they did the Rocky Balboa film, but then also now the Creed. films.
Yeah.
Right? Something like Terminator Genesis, Independence Day Resurgence, the Jurassic World franchise. We've got Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, I think. Blade Runner 2049, the most recent Halloween trilogy, Mary Poppins Returns, Doctor Sleep, which was the sequel to The Shining. Right. Yeah. So anyways, so on and so Bill and Ted Face the Music. Like it just
keeps coming.
We're in this thing where we're like, oh yeah, we haven't released a film in this franchise in 47 years. Let's not
make something new and creative. Let's make something that people already are familiar with.
But some of them have been amazing.
Some of them.
Like Cobra Kai.
Some of them have been horrible.
And then some of them have been Matrix Resurrections. So let's just leave that where that is. But yeah, so God, it's taken forever to get the actual news story out.
Just spit it out.
Ridley Scott has cast the lead for this film. So obviously, spoiler alert, and I don't mind spoiling Gladiator because at this point, Gladiator has been out for years and years and years. So you've had your chance to see it. Our main character, played by Russell Crowe at the end of Gladiator, does in fact pass away and gets to go off and be with his family in the Field of Reeds, which is all he was looking for, ultimately, right? He's kind of on a suicide mission for much of the film.
And he fulfills that. He also, by having the Caesar, whatever his name is, kills it as well.
So if you're going to do a sequel, you either need to do some really bizarre supernatural bullshit, in which case you need to explain why now Russell Crowe is old and fat. The afterlife has been rough. Or you need to cast someone new. You need to have a new lead character. And that's coming to us in the form of Paul Mescal. Now, when I heard that name, I thought, who?
Yeah.
So then I looked him up. I pulled up his IMDb page. And now that I've seen the 8 acting credits that he has, or 11 previous acting credits that he has, I'm going, who? He's just not in anything.
These movies exist?
Yeah, like he's in 8 up. He's got 8 upcoming credits. The only one that stands out to me is Gladiator 2. He's got 11 previous credits, and I'm not recognizing any of them.
Yeah, I'm looking at them right now, and they're all. Yeah, these must be like indie or European foreign or something like
if
that.
I open some of them, so The Lost Daughter, he co-starred with Dakota Johnson, Ed Harris, Peter Sarsgaard. Like, these aren't nobody films, but they're films that just certainly weren't on my radar. But you know what? Maybe, knowing Ridley Scott, maybe that's by design. It's not an uncommon thing in Hollywood, depending on what your story is and depending on what you want the vibe of your film to be. It's not completely uncommon to say, we need to cast an unknown. Mm-hmm. We need to find someone that nobody's currently talking about. Because if we put someone in there like, Leonardo DiCaprio, then people are just going to be watching the screen the whole time saying, that's Leo. I can't see them as the character that you're trying to portray them to me as, because I just see them as Jack from Titanic, or I see them as the Great Gatsby, or I see them as whatever. Star Wars.
We've talked before about, like, with the Harry Potter reboot, there's also the dollar bill consignment as well. Like, you're paying a lot less for a guy named Paul Mescal, who hardly anybody knows of.
Yeah,
as opposed
Star
to
Wars is
DiCaprio.
Mostly known for doing this, right? Like when the first Star Wars came out, probably from that original. I mean, James Earl Jones certainly was a recognizable name, but not the way he is these days. Like, he wasn't that well known. Probably from that original trilogy, like the most famous person in my books was Frank Oz doing the voice of Yoda.
I would think that. Oh man, why is his name escaping me? Lando.
Harrison Ford. Oh, Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. But even then, you're into the second film.
You're into the
Billy D would be even more recognizable than anybody, I would think. Yeah, because I think he by then. Oh man, maybe no, because I don't think Rocky. When did Rocky came out? Versus Star Wars?
I don't know. Because which one is he in? Is it the?
He's in the first one. He's in the first one. He's in all of them up till the third one when he gets killed by the Russian. First Rocky is 76, so it's right around the same time as Star Wars. So
is some sort of crazy realization in my brain happening? You're telling me what you're proposing is that Billy D. Williams plays Apollo Creed. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
I'm looking it up right now. And Billy D. Williams does not have any Apollo Creed credits.
What?
He doesn't have any Rocky credits.
Am I
stupid? No. But you are mistaken.
Who plays
Apollo Creed is played by Carl Weathers. Yeah, I knew that.
What?
Yeah.
Oh man, this is one of those like always gets mistaken for the other person situations.
You just got Mandela. You're from a different dimension where Billy D. Williams did play him, and now that you've been sucked into our dimension, Carl Weathers.
No. This is a situation with oh man,
you're on fire.
His name's on the tip of my tongue. Help me out.
I have no idea what that. How could I help you?
You just Pulp Fiction.
Sam Jackson.
Sam Jackson was mistaken for somebody else when doing his like interview or whatever for Pulp Fiction. They thought he was someone else.
They thought he was Lawrence Fishburne.
That's it. Yeah,
they were asking
he always
him
gets
about
mistaken for
what
Lawrence
it was like
Fishburne.
to be in the Matrix.
That's what just happened here.
Yeah. No, different guy. But so, anyways, yeah. So I can't really comment on this too much because I don't recognize the name. I'm already a little dubious about a sequel. Having said that, as much as I surprisingly enjoyed the first Gladiator film, I've still really only seen it once. Gladiator is one of my mom's favorite films, so I should actually talk to her and get her to weigh in and see how she feels about a sequel.
Why am I doing this news episode with you? She should be here.
But so we'll just have to wait and see. Like I'm not in love with the IP, so if the second one comes out and it's garbage and it wrecks everything, that'll suck, but I'm not going to be fuming, you know?
Yeah, I mean I like those period pieces. Like I love Robin Hood. I love that kind of sordid and medieval storyline stuff. Kind of low tech, Troy, and even when they throw the magical mysticism in there with, Merlin or whatever, Sword in the Stone stuff. So I really enjoyed this movie when it came out. I wouldn't say I fanboy over it. Like it wasn't like the best thing since sliced pie, but
you don't get to see Brad Pitt's butt. So as far as like period pieces go, that was something it was certainly missing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
But, I'm sure. And I vaguely remember listening to the episode where you and Pete talked about this. And what do you do with the story, right? You can go any number of directions, I guess, but you can't. Your main antagonist and protagonist, they're both dead, and they didn't set up like the god pantheon as being alive and real in this universe, right? So, it would be Zeus was Greek, so this would be Roman, which would be
the Roman gods,
Mars, and I don't know what.
Yeah,
Zeus is
I don't know.
I know my
anyway, you know what I mean.
Gods. Like there's no deities in that world that they've set up. They didn't set up that. They prayed to them, but they never set them up as actually being real and interacting. And so them bringing that in with like, hey, let's bring these guys back from the dead. It's like,
the Roman gods are
pretty earth shattering for that universe to all of a sudden happen. So essentially you're creating a sequel based off of what exactly? Like what connecting ties are there going to be to the first one? That this is a Gladiator 2 and not just a reboot with using the same name with a 2 behind it.
I just looked up a list of Roman gods, and there's got to be 200 names in this list.
Oh yeah, well, it's the Roman pantheon is the Greek pantheon. They just renamed everybody.
Well, I mean, same with they all had equivalents, right? Like even the Egyptian one is like, oh yeah, well, we believe our equivalent of that is so and so. Yeah, I know the Greek. I know a lot of the Greek ones. Mostly because of Assassin's Creed.
We're a little off topic here, but what I'm talking about is like, if I'm not mistaken, because the Romans conquered the Greeks, they kind of usurped their pantheon, saying that their gods defeated the Greek gods and essentially took on the same roles, but with the same gods essentially, but with new names. So the god of war Ares from the Greek pantheon is Mars in the Roman pantheon.
Right. Cool. All right, moving on.
Yeah.
There's a little film coming out, a little live action film coming out, that you may not be aware of, the listener might not be aware of, but it's based on a video game series that I happen to know you're a fan of, called Borderlands. Did you know this was coming?
This was in the show notes, and my first initial thought was, oh, they're making a movie based off that TV show Borderlands, which I've seen the first season of, and then never watched any more of. And then and then you just mentioned it, and I was like, oh, yeah, okay. I think I have heard this like months and months ago when it was like announced they were making it.
Yeah,
but yeah, okay. This is cool. I'm looking at the casting list, and this looks like it could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, Jack Black playing Claptrap. I mean,
yeah.
Come on. So anyways, the Borderlands movie has just gotten a new director. It was going to be directed by Eli Roth, who is known for things like Cabin Fever, Endangered Species, Death Wish. So not super big, well-known, massive career. But he's now being replaced by the director of the Deadpool films, Tim Miller. Now, Tim Miller, as I said, did Deadpool. He did Terminator Dark Fate. But probably, not most notably because the Deadpool films are massive, but also directed both Sonic the Hedgehog movies, didn't direct. He was a executive producer. He was heavily involved in the Sonic the Hedgehog films, which those are films that are turned out way better than they had any right ever be. Like for the genre it is, for the video game character live action animated mashup film that it is, they're so good.
Mm-hmm.
They're so good. So this may change the direction of the sort of the feel of the Borderlands film, but I kind of think that it might change it in the right direction. Because if you think about the type of humor from the comedy sensibilities that Tim Miller certainly obviously has because of the Deadpool films.
Yeah.
And then you think about the type of humor and sensibilities that you would want from a Borderlands film. And there are some differences, right? Like a Borderlands film isn't going to be as crass, as over the top hard R as Deadpool is.
I don't know.
But it's still pretty. It's pretty.
Up there.
They might, but but think about it, right? Think about the way these things typically go. They're not going to go. I find it really, really unlikely that they're going to take a video game property, make a film out of it, and shoot for an R rating. They're shooting for a PG-13 because more people can see it than all the teenagers that play the game are able to go see it. So I feel like in making the Borderlands film, they're probably going to tone back some of the material quite a bit. Love it or hate it, it is probably the smart business move. But yeah, so you hear this, you think about what you saw from Deadpool and what Tim Miller is capable of. You're certainly more invested in a Borderlands film than I'm ever going to be. So what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so I definitely, I'm on the IMDb now, and I definitely did hear about this months and months ago, because if you're are you on the IMDb right now?
I am not. No.
If you go to the
educate me.
IMDb, they've got some kind of cast set photos of the characters of a couple of the actors in their kind of get-ups, but they've done this photo shoot. It's all silhouette, so you don't actually see like
oh yes, I remember
heavy
those.
backlight. All you see is a black silhouette, and these silhouettes look spectacular. Like, oh man, it's exciting. I think if it's as good as it looks, as those few pictures make it look, then yeah. And as far as like the actor or directors go, IMDb is listing Tim Miller as a reshoot director.
Yeah, so some of it's
I don't know how much
some of it's already been shot.
Doing, but I mean, it could change a lot or it could change a little. But yeah, I think whether Tim Miller has a lot of work ahead of him or a little work, like you've got in terms of action and comedy. Like the comedy's covered just in Kevin Hart and Jack Black alone. Or like between those two, it's gonna be funny. Yeah, I'd say I'm looking forward to it.
Does this make sense to you as a live action film?
I don't know. With the quality of CGI these days, I think so. I think it's possible.
But you want it to be heavily CGI?
Yeah, well, so for those that are unfamiliar with the Borderlands video games, it's a video game one, but it's what they call a cell shaded, like the art style of the video game is cell shaded. So it looks very kind of cartoony animation, kind of almost
comic booky.
Comic booky. That's a very apt description of it. Yeah. So maybe a little bit, maybe it would have been better animated, something closer to the vein of what Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was. Right? That very kind of splashy graphics, because then like as you play the game similar. You get a lot of those splashy graphics when characters are introduced and stuff, but that doesn't mean they still can't do that as a live action. So
for sure.
I mean, until I see it, I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt, I think.
Okay.
Like
okay.
You look at especially after we have movies like Jumanji Into the Jungle and was it Jumanji 2? No, it wasn't Jumanji 2. What was it? The second one with The Rock and Kevin Hart and Jack Black.
There was Welcome to the Jungle, and then there was The Next Level?
Something like that. Yeah. But both of those, like they had that kind of weird well done kind of CGI flair that made it seem a little not real, but in a good way, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because they were
like
supposed
guys
to be trapped
falling from
in
the
a video
sky,
game.
splat, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think that if you kind of go with that kind of leaning into something similar-ish to that, it could, this could be really fun.
Cool. All right, moving on. And I'm actually going to combine two topics into one here. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. We've been talking a lot about it. We're going to talk even more about it when it hits theaters and we go watch it and we review it and give our less than professional opinions. But some more news has come out about the film leading into it. We got another trailer a little while ago, which I didn't talk to you about that trailer because some big things are revealed in that trailer. And I was like, I know Carl's not going to watch this trailer.
And I haven't watched it. because I've fulfilled my contractual movie man obligation by watching the first one already.
I know.
However, I think I do know the big reveal in the trailer, unfortunately, because I've recently been playing the mobile app game Marvel Snap. And they've announced their new cards for next month, which is all based around Ant-Man.
Yeah.
And the Quantumania. So I do know that for those that don't want to know, you've got a 5-second spoiler. So skip ahead 5 or 10 seconds here. 1, 2, 3. I'm saying it. MODOK. Is that who you're going to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm disappointed that I found out. I am.
He
that would have been a
fantastic.
really, really cool thing to see, like, for the first time on screen.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And I thought about that. I was like, I wanna talk to Carl about it, but also I'm like, if somehow he manages to avoid this and then sees it in the theater, that's going to be such a special moment.
It would have been so mind-blowing. I'm really disappointed I found out. I wish I could take it back. And it's why would, like, the first trailer was so good. Why do you need, and like, it's not like people aren't already hyped for it, even though this last Marvel phase has been kind of dull in terms of meeting people's expectations. Like, people were already hyped for this movie with Kang being in it, and it's Ant-Man, Scott Lang being back, right? Like, why do you need that reveal in a why reveal that in a trailer? Like, it's like revealing that Darth Vader is Luke's dad in a trailer. Why you wouldn't do it? Why do it? It just seems retarded to me. Such a really, really, really bad move.
Right. I would say that it goes one step further than that, in that, revealing Vader as Luke's father, that is something that you shouldn't reveal in a trailer, but also is this, like, for everybody, for the general public, for anyone who's gone to see the first Star Wars, that is a holy crap moment.
Yeah.
This reveal that they gave us not only didn't need to be revealed in the trailer, but also is a relatively, like, it's a niche enough reveal that, I would say 70%, not of the diehard comic book fans, but 70% of the average movie-going person who has seen all of the MCU up until this point, because, hey, they've enjoyed them, doesn't know who that is. Or if they do know who that is, right, because they've caught wind of it from whatever other piece of media, it's not going to be a ticket seller to them. It's not going to be something that sways them in either direction. So it just, it to me, that was a completely unnecessary reveal, and should have been, it's not at all like the Toby and Andrew thing in Spider-Man, because yes, it was smart to keep, it was fun that they kept that a secret.
Yep.
But on the flip side, had they revealed it, it certainly would. I mean, they didn't need help selling tickets, but it would have sold tickets, right? Like that was something
this
you're like, ooh,
isn't going to push the excitement of it. In fact, so for me, it actually makes me worried, because even I haven't seen the trailer. I still am not going to see the trailer. I haven't gone out looking for pictures or images of what MODOK looks like. So I'm actually, like, kind of hesitant and concerned, because how are they going to make MODOK look? Are they going to screw him up? Are they going to do it justice? Are they going to take some really weird new take that is either going to screw him up or do him justice? Like, you know what I mean? So, like, for those that don't know, MODOK is essentially a massive head that floats around, and he's got tiny little arms and legs. Like in the comic books, he looks kind of cool, but at the same time weird. How do you portray that in a live action film and get away with it? And And so having not looked at that and not wanting to go out and look for that material till I watched the film, I'm like, how are they going to do this?
I feel like you've completely abandoned your 5-second not wanting to spoil this for anyone thing.
Yeah, I have. Sorry, people. Yeah, whatever.
Anyway. So we've been talking about it, and last week or the week before, we talked about how this was going to be a important movie, that it was going to really sort of pull some things together, maybe put some things into focus for us, help us sort of understand the roadmap.
Yeah. Now, since then, there's been a lot of speculation, and even people in that working on these films talking about how that is what this is.
Yeah. Now, we've gotten two pieces of news. One is that this Ant-Man is going to be the longest Ant-Man that we've gotten. Now, this isn't groundbreaking news. I mean, Marvel films as a whole seem to have more or less been getting longer and longer. And so that doesn't really super surprise me. Also, if this is going to be an important, massive film, then it makes sense. Like, maybe they're going to be putting a lot of stuff into this, and so it's going to be longer. And longer doesn't necessarily mean anything, right? It can be 5 minutes longer than the last one, and it's still the longest one we've gotten. Like, that's neither here nor there. But we did have a Marvel exec who has obviously seen the film come out and say, this is akin to, this is similar to, this holds the same MCU changing power that Civil War had. That once you see this movie, parts of the Marvel Cinematic Universe will forever be different. Yeah, this excites me because I think it adds credit to my theory that we're going to understand what's happening. That we're going to be like, okay, this is what is happening. This is how we're progressing. This is how we're moving forward. And I don't know, ground shattering. Everything is going to change. Is just exciting for me, right? During a phase that at times has felt very mundane, this makes it sound like the total opposite of mundane. It makes it sound, universe shattering. But what are your thoughts?
So I just looked at all three films' runtimes, and the first two are like an hour and 55, 58 minutes, something like that. So just under 2 hours. And this one, according to IMDb, is 2 hours and 5 minutes. So when they say it's the longest one yet, it's the longest one by less than 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know how much of a boast that is, if they're trying to use that as a boast. Anyway, yeah, I think this definitely has the potential to bring all kind of the elements that they've been building in this phase to one kind of cohesive potential storyline. I've watched a couple kind of breakdown trailers of this Marvel phase. And one of the more interesting ones was kind of saying that we've been holding this phase up to a standard similar to the one before it, which was the Infinity War saga phase. I guess that's phase 3.
Yeah.
When what we should be doing is contrasting it to phase 1.
Yeah.
Which when you do
kind of
that,
what I said.
It makes a little. Yeah, that's right. You did say that. Did you say that? Yeah, you said that one of our.
I said it recently. I said, if you look at phase 1, we're just setting up new characters and we don't really know what the hell's going on.
Yeah. So they broke it down into more like the way they were telling a mysticism storyline. They were telling a street level storyline with these different characters that they've been introducing with and So it's from different and a galactic level storyline, like so. It was pretty. They went a bit more in depth to it, but it was pretty much similar to what you were saying, if not spot on. And yeah, from that point of view, this is more Avengers, what Avengers did for Phase 1, I think.
Yeah, even though it'll be the first film in Phase 5.
Yeah,
right. So Phase 4 is done.
Yeah, we're not going to get all these newly introduced characters on the same screen the way Avengers did, but we're going to get like the storylines are going to be start to tie together, so that moving forward we have a bigger picture.
Yeah, in the sense that what Avengers ultimately introduced to us was the Chitauri,
a cosmic threat. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was carried through. That kind of became ultimately what the Infinity Saga was about, was this cosmic threat.
Yeah.
Right? The Infinity Stones being the MacGuffin.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I haven't heard anything about this film yet that has put me off, has made me weary of it. And I haven't really heard many people on the internet either who are criticizing it going in. So that's always a good sign. Mm-hmm. Moving on. We've also been talking a lot about Warner Brothers, like a lot about Warner Brothers.
A lot.
And people have been shit-talking Warner Brothers. And we've been talking a lot about that. We've been talking a lot about the angry fans that are hopping on the internet.
To the DC universe.
Yeah, from the James Gunn, Peter Safran DC universe situation.
Yeah.
And that there's angry fans hopping on the internet from their parents' basement and griping about, they're making all the wrong moves. They're doing this. That was a huge mistake. They're doing that. That's a huge mistake. Fire James Gunn. Fire this guy. Bring back Henry Cavill. Blah blah blah. This is over. I've read the comment section of several either Twitter posts or Facebook posts, and it's just like every third comment is someone saying like, "I'm done with DC. I won't be watching any future films. I'm done. I'm out." To which my response to 75% of that is, yeah, okay. Okay, powerful internet troll. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
But the proof is in the pudding. Winning cures everything. Money cures a lot of things when it comes to the film industry. And WB stock has been going up.
Yeah.
Going up. And Wall Street, not the film, but Wall Street itself, the people who are kind of the official authority on stocks, are predicting a really good year for Warner Brothers.
Yeah. I don't understand that. Because
I don't understand
because
stocks
of the
in
new
general.
DC universe. Because we're not going to get anything from the new DC universe for at least a year and a half.
No, but when it comes to stocks, you don't need a new film to be out in order for stocks. Like stocks are like, people buying into something.
They're anticipating something big.
Right? It's people buying into things, right? So like Apple can announce a new product tomorrow that isn't going to come out for 6 months, but it doesn't take 6 months for Apple stock to be impacted by that announcement.
Yeah. It's all the anticipation of.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, this is going to be good. So there's ultimately, I think what it means is that there's enough people out there, enough people with stock buying power. There's enough people with the power to be able to influence these things.
Well, and just foresight into coming events.
Yeah, people who like intelligent people when it comes to these things. People who base their livelihood on being able to predict the ebb and flow of a company, who are looking at these changes, are looking at what's happening, and are on board, are saying, this is a good thing. If you disagree, sit down and shut up because you're wrong. and we're excited. So do you think, does this, I mean, you weren't a naysayer prior to this. You were kind of going with the flow and yep, okay, this makes sense. Yes. Yeah, it's unfortunate to lose Henry Cavill, but if this is what you're doing, then it makes sense.
Not just Henry Cavill. There's like Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman was amazing.
Yeah.
You know, oh man, why does names suck for me?
Jason Momoa as Aquaman
was a great Aquaman.
Yeah.
So like we're losing a lot, and that's sad.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see more from them in those roles. But yeah, like you said, like, well, I can't do anything to change it, whether I sign a petition or not.
Wait, so what?
I might as well
online
just go
fan
with the flow.
petitions don't work?
I might as well. Well, not when you direct them at a movie.
Newsflash.
You're better to vote with your wallet and just not buy anything from them.
Yeah,
but even then, they're gonna make their stuff whether it's good or not. But yeah, I can't affect change in this circumstance. So yeah, I might as well just say, okay, well, I enjoyed the ride while it lasted, and when the new roller coaster is built, I'll take it for a spin and see if it's any good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Does this news sway you at all? Does it impact how you're seeing the future of DC?
No, because even if the stock market shot through the roof and it was strictly because of this James Gunn news that we've been talking about nonstop, that doesn't affect whether the movie's going to be good or not. That doesn't affect the creative talent involved and the screenwriters and the actors. Like, that's not going to make them perform any better or worse.
Right.
So
True.
No, it doesn't affect my hype level. If I had shares in Warner Brothers, yeah, absolutely. I'd be totally stoked.
You don't?
But since I don't, and since I'm not making money off it myself, then no, I'm not.
Man.
Yeah.
Maybe you should have.
Yeah. Yep. Buy in. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on. March of 2023.
We're marching to 2023.
In March
2023 already.
In March of 2023, we are getting the live-action Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Oh yes, this one. Yes.
With Chris Pine and Michelle Rodriguez and Hugh Grant and
yeah,
a bunch of other people who I'm not familiar with, but the Dungeons and Dragons movie is coming. It's not out yet.
Nope.
But it is coming, and you and I will probably watch it and more than likely give a review. But ahead of that movie coming out, ahead of the fans being able to say like, it's garbage, or like, this was the greatest thing ever, it's been announced that there's a live action series coming to Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
Now, you're a Dungeons and Dragons, like the game fan.
Well, in the last few years, I started playing it. Yeah.
Yeah. You've been a dungeon master and created campaigns and played and all this stuff. And I've played along sort of on and off. I all of the playing that I've done, I wasn't as big into it. All the playing that I've done was like, we always played online remotely. And I think for me, an aspect of it was an aspect of what probably makes Dungeons and Dragons so great was lost through the sort of not in-person camaraderie aspect of it.
Yeah, because we started playing over COVID because it was something we could do remotely.
What the hell else are we going to do?
And yeah, I think I've never played it in person at a table. Like it's considered a tabletop role-playing game, and we've never played it at an actual table together. I've never played it actually. So yeah, there's definitely something we've missed out on playing this game. Always remotely online.
Yeah. I gotta be honest, even with this, like, I'm very dubious and I'm very curious as to the momentum that they have moving forward with this show. Because even in watching the trailers for this film, I've been skeptical. Like, when I heard there was a Dungeons and Dragons movie coming, like, in Dungeons and Dragons, there is some lore, right? There's
some heavy lore in
but as
really
far
deep.
as storyline goes, it's like that's part of what makes Dungeons and Dragons what it is you come up with the story. You're creating the adventure and you're creating your characters, and there's lore there as to the different races that exist, and there's lore there, but I don't know, when all of a sudden there was a movie announced for a game that you just kind of normally create your own story for, it made me wonder why. Like, is this a scenario where you've got an idea, you've got a script, you've got a story for sort of a fantasy action adventure film, and with just a little bit of tweaking, we could probably tap into the name popularity, the name brand, the name stake of Dungeons and Dragons, and maybe we'll sell some more tickets that way. Which, in my opinion, might backfire and have the opposite effect, because yes, there are Dungeons and Dragons fans, but and among Dungeons and Dragons fans, Dungeons and Dragons is super popular. And I would say things like Stranger Things have certainly probably
surged its popularity a bit,
given it some boost. But the general public, Dungeons and Dragons is not as big as it was maybe back in the 80s.
It's actually the biggest it's ever been.
Oh, is it? Okay,
yeah.
Well,
so
okay.
Like you mentioned, Stranger Things has played a small part, actually probably a sizable part in that. But with COVID and kind of the way we picked it up, a lot of other people picked it up too. And also, a lot of people stream their games or record them and post them online on YouTube and other
Twitch,
possible streaming sites, Twitch and stuff like that. So it's because of those, it's grown in popularity. And some of these streamers are like well-known, popular voice actors in the vein of the Critical Role crew, who and some other, there are a few other ones out there that I'm less familiar with, but also have like celebrity tables, and they live stream or record and put out their games for everyone to just watch them play the game. And yeah, so it's actually the biggest it's ever been. There are some issues going on right now with, so Hasbro owns the license to Dungeons and Dragons.
Right.
And they're like, Hasbro is a company and they are in the business of making as much money as they possibly can. And that's why we're getting this movie. That's why we're getting this TV show. Like they've recently bought them in the last 7 or 8 years or something like that. So Hasbro is looking to, make bank the same way Disney did when they bought Star Wars and Marvel. But I guess, and this isn't less movie news, but they've recently gotten themselves into hot water because one of the great things, as you alluded to about Dungeons and Dragons, is players can make their own content. They can make their own worlds.
That's the whole point.
They make their own characters and they make their own stories. And a lot of people make these characters and these villains and these monsters, and they make resource material for other people to buy using a D&D license. So D&D has got this special third-party license agreement where you can use their monsters and all this stuff, and a very small percentage of your profit goes back to the company. It's some weird third-party agreement. But apparently as of the new year, a whole bunch of information is leaked that they are looking at changing this license. And essentially, if you make above a certain amount, then they take almost all your money. So companies like Critical Role, who have made a major business and employs like dozens of people to run this company and put out third-party content, they can't use the D&D licensed properties anymore without getting into trouble. So they're now in some hot water with a lot of the people who play the game. Now, I don't know if that will affect these movies or not, but yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So, but that all being said, up until very recently, up until this month, D&D is the largest it's ever been.
Right. Okay. So I'm just doing some math here and seeing, so my question is still, though, is it popular enough to justify not only I was wondering if it was popular enough to justify making a film.
Yeah. I mean,
but to jump straight into it, to jump the shark and say, we believe in this so much that we're also now moving full steam ahead with a film or with a television series. It just kind of makes me wonder why. So I've pulled up.
I mean, the same could be said for almost any property that gets turned into a film from another form of media. The Witcher, for example, it was a book and a video game. I would say it was far less known than D&D is or was.
Yes, and but a television.
It had a really good
just
first
made a show.
Season. Second season was a little shaky for those that are really deep into the lore, but overall, the second season was good too. So yeah, it's not like Star Wars level, well known, right? Like everybody and their grandma knows what Star Wars is, whether they've seen it or not. It's not on that level, but I think there's enough attraction there, for a fandom there that, yeah, it's obviously worth making a film over. Like Hasbro spent millions of dollars to buy the rights to this property. They did it because, this is going to make money if we do it right. And part of doing it right is making content in all other forms of media besides tabletop RPGs.
So
right?
I just did a little bit of math, using the industry formula on how much money a film needs to make in order to break even. And a lot of people go, wow, that's easy. You just look at whatever the budget is. Well, no. Because there's the budget, and then there's the marketing budget, and then there's the portion that is paid to movie theaters, and then there's the portion, it's not just the budget of the film. In order to break even, the Dungeons and Dragons movie is going to have to make approximately $140 million at the box office, which is not, and then turn a profit. That was super successful. That was in order to not take a loss. They're going to need to make $140 million.
Here's the thing. This isn't the first Dungeons and Dragons live action film either.
No, and some of them have been quite bad. and
right.
have
we
been
had
flops.
Most recently, we had one in 2000.
Yeah.
And it wasn't received greatly. Even a lot of fans of it aren't super excited about it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it wasn't a complete crapshoot. Like,
and it was not a nobody cast. Jeremy Irons and Marlon Wayans. Yeah. And
so,
it made $33 million.
Yeah.
Which is like 110 million less than this one needs to make in order to.
The company I mentioned, the streaming company, Critical Role, they recently had an Amazon Prime TV series, animated, and it was extremely well received. They kickstarted it, and they exceeded their stretch goal by like 10 times what their stretch goal was.
Yeah,
like
we'll see.
We're talking like millions of dollars they raised on Kickstarter to make this show.
I'm choosing to remain skeptical. I will be flabbergasted. I will be surprised if this film turns a profit, like turns a genuine, that was really worth it profit. And I will be equally surprised if the show sees a second season.
So I haven't seen anything about the show. I've seen the trailer for the movie. I would say I'm optimistically hesitant. I would say I'm also hesitant that it'll do it really well. But at the same time, kind of knowing that the property's at its peak of popularity ever, with the exception of the more recent kind of fiasco that they're going through this month that I mentioned earlier, with taking that kind of out of the equation, like the CGI looks good. It looks like they're kind of sticking to the lore of the world that D&D is, the actual D&D world is known for. It looks like they're kind of sticking to that lore, and those kind of the character archetypes that you can play in the game are kind of portrayed in the leading cast members or leading protagonists, which is cool. So I think like they're hitting kind of, from the trailer, it feels like they're hitting all the notes to kind of show that, hey, this isn't just your normal sword and sorcery world. This is a D&D world. This is a D&D movie. So I think as long as they hit those notes well, and the script, like the only unknown for me that would cause this to fail horribly is if the script is really bad. Right? If the story and the characters' journeys are horrible or are not very good, that would be its failing. Other than that, I think it's got a potential for a good shot.
Also, with this coming out in March, we are now entering what needs to be their big final marketing push. And a lot of it, a lot of the success of any film comes down to its marketing, right?
Yeah.
And whether really they're able to market this properly.
2.5 months.
Yeah. So I don't know. I do not know. We'll have to wait and see, but I remain extremely skeptical. Moving into our final topic, and a big one, and one that I'm going to have to play the role that I occasionally play when we talk about reports. So, a report came out and then started growing traction that the Snyderverse, so basically the DC films up until this point, I guess is what we will forever refer to it as, right? This iteration of DC was the Snyderverse, even though really only those first three films were truly like Zack Snyder's babies and the story that he intended. And even still only sort of kind of the Justice League was sort of kind of what he intended. But rumors have suggested that the Snyderverse, now that that's done and over with and DC is starting anew, will be moving over to Netflix so that Netflix can produce future films in that, sort of continue that on, which would mean, your Henry Cavill Supermans and your Gal Gadot Wonder Womans and your J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon.
Doesn't WB one of the have things, its own streaming service?
No. Oh. WB stuff goes to HBO Max.
Right.
So, and a lot of fans saw this and rejoiced, got real excited. They're like, okay, well, I guess I'm getting all my DC stuff from Netflix moving forward, and to hell with Warner Brothers and everything else. So, the big question is the Snyderverse going over to Netflix? No, it's not. and I'll tell you why. And there's several reasons. So let's make a couple of things. Let's make a couple of things clear. When we say, is Warner Brothers or is the Snyderverse going over to Netflix, it kind of makes it sound like Warner Brothers would say, "Hey, Netflix, here you go. Here you go. We're not
for us what you did for Marvel."
Yeah, we're not using this iteration anymore. So here, have at it. That's not how that transaction works. The way that transaction works is either Netflix says, "Hey, Warner Brothers, how much you want for these properties, for the right to use these properties." Or Warner Brothers approaches Netflix and says, "Hey, Netflix, this is our price tag. Are you interested?" It's not a here you go, have fun situation. So getting that out of the way, then you have to ask yourself, what is that price tag? And I got to be honest with you.
What did they pay for Marvel?
Yeah, but that price tag from Warner Brothers, from James Gunn, who and Peter Zaslav, the head of Warner Brothers, who has said that these DC films are our top priority right now. Right? That we are putting everything we've got at Warner Brothers into DC. We believe in it more than anything else. Okay, so let's say Netflix approaches Warner Brothers, because it wouldn't happen the other way around, right? If this is your prized baby and this is what you're putting all your work into, you're not going to go start farming around to see who is interested in also making content, right? Content that would essentially be rivaling content in a sense, right? For the fans that want Henry Cavill still, you'd basically be saying, here, make content so those people will watch your stuff instead of watching our stuff. 8, 9, maybe $10 billion is what that number is going to be.
Okay. So I just Googled what Netflix paid for Marvel, and I found this old article from a website called Digital Trends. Anyway, February 27th, 2014. The headline is Marvel Netflix bound TV shows to cost a whopping $200 million. And that was just to make them, I'm assuming.
That was just to make them. This number is going to be much higher. Because listen, there's one thing to say, okay, Netflix wants Punisher. They want Frank Castle. Okay. Netflix wants Agent Phil Coulson. Okay. Netflix wants Daredevil. Okay. Netflix wants to be able to use Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, and who am I missing? Luke Cage. Okay. Let's come up with a number. Marvel at this point is still, it's seeing success and people are going out to see these movies. It's still more or less the MCU really is kind of in its infancy stage. Just having wrapped phase 1. Okay, let's sit down and come up with a number. And that number was 200 million. And I'm telling you right now, if it were today, that number would be a lot higher. A lot higher. right? With the MCU where it's at, all of a sudden Netflix wants to start borrowing characters. Yeah, okay, get out your checkbook.
Yeah.
But that's not the scenario here. The scenario would be, if this is even true, if Netflix was even remotely interested, which they're not, and I'll tell you why in a minute. If this was remotely true, Warner Brothers has to sit there and say, Netflix wants Batman. Netflix wants Superman.
Yeah, they want the
Netflix wants Wonder Woman. This is a whole different, it's not apples to apples remotely. That's why that number is so big. Now, the reason why, here's the thing, people go, well, Warner Brothers would never agree to this. Everything's got a price. Everything has got a price.
Yeah.
Right? If Jeff Bezos showed up to Warner Brothers tomorrow and said, we'd like to buy DC Studios from you. Here's $95 billion. Yeah, here's $95 billion. That may not even be enough to sway them, but it would be something that they would definitely start taking into heavy consideration, right? Everything has a price. So then you have to look at the buyer. Okay, Netflix. Last year, Netflix lost like $30 billion. Netflix has been in some financial trouble. They've been losing some subscribers. They've been, things have not been super hot for Netflix. All that aside, let's say Netflix is full steam ahead and they've been doing as good as they've ever been doing. Do they have the resources to spend $10 billion? Sure. Yeah, maybe. But what is the upside for Netflix?
Yeah.
Where's the upside? Because I'll tell you right now, the majority of people, I was watching someone else talk about this and they made a really excellent point, which is that us comic book fans, the fans who really care and really consume comic book media, typically aren't people who only consume comic book media, right? As a whole, it's safe to say you can sort of, make a group statement, kind of summarize everyone together and say that comic book movie fans are generally big fans of consuming media, right? We like lots of stuff. We like to consume a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Which means the majority of your big DC fans, the majority of the people who are spending big money to come out and see your newest DC film, are already subscribed to Netflix. We already have Netflix. And we've talked about before that, barring the new completely bullshit ad-supported tier that only offers you 720p on Netflix and doesn't include the full library, and I'm telling you, a brand new movie that we've sunk a lot of money into over at Netflix is not going to be included in your partial library with the ad-supported tier. New subscribers is the only way that Netflix makes money. That's how they make their money.
Yeah.
Which is why so many Netflix shows, even if they're at the height of popularity and everyone's watching it, get canceled after the second season because it's not making Netflix money anymore. Because everyone who's going to sign up to watch such and such have already signed up to watch such and such. There's no upside. There is no upside for Netflix to do this. Certainly not for numbers north of $1 billion, which I'm telling you, it would be significantly north of $1 billion. So Warner Brothers is not interested in selling. They would for the right price, but the right price is never, ever, ever going to be offered by anybody. Netflix isn't interested because they'd have to pay billions just to be able to do it. And then they have to spend money making these properties, casting the actors, making the films, editing the films, marketing the films, which Netflix does a notoriously shit job of marketing any of their content.
Yeah, I feel like they used to do a better job, but they must have cut funding to that department because it's not near what it used to be.
Yeah.
Plus, the market's flooded when it comes to streaming services, which
exactly
makes the fight for viewers' dollars
for your dollars. Harder. Yeah. So here's the thing: they're not going to sell Netflix, even if they could buy it, even if they wanted to buy it. Someone sitting at that boardroom table would go, "Okay, but why? What is the upside for us?" And the answer is there isn't one.
Well,
so
especially
it's not
when
happen.
DC's launching this new universe, right? Like when they partnered with Marvel's on this big upswing in terms of media attention. Let's partner with Marvel. Okay, let's get some street level heroes that aren't going to make the big screen or haven't made the big screen in a long time or have never made the big screen, and we'll give them their shot, some time in the sun. We'll give them their shot at glory and recognition in terms of a larger audience, and we'll see what happens. All at the same time, their storylines, while not directly affecting or being part of the larger story that Marvel Studios is doing with their movies, are still in that universe. Mm-hmm. They still talk about, like in Daredevil, they still talk about the incident, the war, the Chitauri invasion. They never use words like Chitauri and aliens, but they it's the incident. It happened it's something that happened, and so they refer to things that happen in the larger movies, so to kind of tie you into the same world. But because it's kind of street level heroes, the movies never have to refer to them, which made this kind of nice symbiotic relationship. Actually, it's more of a leeching. What's the opposite of symbiotic? They were leeching off the popularity of the movies for their TV shows. But important
to what you're saying, though, like an important disclaimer is that it has been 99% confirmed that those Marvel shows are not canon to the MCU.
But are they? Now with Daredevil being in like She-Hulk and Spider-Man.
And there's a Daredevil series coming, and every interview that we've gotten, everything that anybody's talking about points to this being it's not the same. It's a new version of the character.
I don't think so. Why wouldn't you use, like, Netflix did with the exception of Iron Fist, Netflix did a phenomenal job laying the groundwork for these heroes. Why would you throw that out?
Because you could never.
You're even using the same actor, Charlie Cox, for Daredevil.
But you could never have the same. You could never take Daredevil the way you were doing him in the Netflix series and do him in the MCU without having to make that film a hard R.
So
So
I think you could. Like, there's a lot of. I don't think the Daredevil series was any more brutal than what we've seen from Marvel so far.
Okay, well, you need to rewatch the Daredevil series. From a violence and blood and it's you could not, if you took that tomorrow, if you took the Netflix series tomorrow and you combined it into you edit it down into a 3-hour film and released it, that film would get an R.
I don't know. You could tone it you could tone it down a little bit and you could squeak out being just below the R. I think.
Maybe.
Like, you wouldn't have to take much out.
Maybe. It's rated TVMA.
At most, you would have to he's got blood on his face there. Let's wipe that off. That now we don't have an R anymore because there's no blood shown. Right? He's still got bruising and stuff and a cut, but there's no blood. Like, it does. I don't think it would take much for them to subvert it, to tone it down, but still have that kind of brutality.
Okay. Well,
but anyway,
either way, they've pretty much already announced he's a different Daredevil. But
the point I don't believe that. But the point I'm making is that they were building these two worlds within the same universe. Conversely, now you've got this Snyderverse on Netflix versus the new whatever DC is going to be doing now with their live action movies, the Gunverse, Snyderverse versus Gun. You got two completely different universes. You're fighting an uphill battle, I think, because you're not working in tandem with anymore. You're working against.
Absolutely, yeah. It just doesn't make any sense for Netflix.
Yeah.
Right. Does it make sense for DC? Well, if the right price came along, then sure, anything makes sense.
Yeah. DC, of course, it makes sense. They make money either way. They make double the money because they're making money off their Gunverse, and then we can make money off the Snyderverse still. Of course, it makes sense for them. But yeah, I don't think it makes sense. I agree. I don't think it makes sense for Netflix.
Yeah. I don't see it happening. All right. Well, that's the news, sir.
That's it. That's all.
That's it. That's all. Thank you so much for listening. You can tune in again next week, barring that Carl isn't, sitting beside someone saying breathe and push.
Still not there yet.
Still not there yet. Actually, yeah, time-wise, if you guys could have that baby probably like tonight, then that would work out really well for the podcast schedule. So
right.
Maybe keep that in mind.
Priorities. I'll let Emily know.
Yeah. Thank you for liking and listening and clicking subscribe or follow on whatever podcast service you're listening to us on. Make sure you check out our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter page, all listed down below. Also, our Patreon page. Patreon's a big one. We've got some fun little potential things coming up for our Patreon stuff, so you're not going to want to miss that. You can have access to
all the subscription services you can subscribe to. This is the one you want to subscribe to.
To hell with Netflix.
But they don't offer you the news that we offer you or the reviews we do.
Exactly. So check that out. You can gain access to all of our content for as little as $1 a month. But
cheaper
then
than Netflix.
It's way cheaper. Way cheaper. We don't offer a tier. Our most expensive tier is cheaper than the cheapest Netflix tier.
Mm-hmm. You could cancel your Netflix subscription and watch all their stuff in 420p and subscribe to us, and you get double the content.
Yeah, and still be making some buck. Like, what are you waiting for? But yeah, so gain access to it all for as little as $1 a month. But there are some other tiers there which give you some added benefits, including some merch. Speaking of merch, if you want to get your hands on some merch, but aren't interested in Patreon, then, sort out your priorities. But also there is a page listed below for our merch store. There's lots of good stuff there. High quality junk. Some real high quality junk. So check it out. Thank you so much for listening again. And until next time, when presumably Carl will be a father for the very first time.
That's not
again.
True. Again, yeah.
Again.
But not first time.
No, you done it. You did it twice now, really.
Yeah.
Stepdaughter and then the little rugrat that you were there for from the well, I was going to say from day one, but really you were there from like conception. Yeah. Yeah. Good for you.
I said inception instead of conception.
Same thing. Yeah, whatever.